you're here, welcome back to my channel. I'm Alina Dont. I'm an aspiring author. I'm a mom of 4. Let's just jump into it. This is going to be a short video. We are going to be making a music playlist for the book that we are writing, that I am writing. I'm making one for the one I'm writing. You can make one for the book that you are writing, and I'm just going to kind of talk you through my process and how I decide what I'm going to put on my playlist. First things first, since I am basing my book on a song, Scarborough Fair, I am using that song on my playlist, obviously. I know that there are a lot of people who do this with their books. For example, it's very popular these days to write books that are based off of Taylor Swift songs. So if you're doing something like that, obviously use that song. That is a no-brainer, just throw it in there. That's the first thing that I would do. Okay, next you're gonna kind of look for related songs. So songs that kind of have the same theme, the same ideas in them. For me, this is actually kind of easy because you have Scarborough Fair and it's actually based on an old Elfin ballad. It's called the Elfin Knight, I think. And so I'm also looking for that song to put onto my playlist. This may just be finding other artists that are similar or have similar messages in their songs. If you're doing folklore, you'll look for other songs that kind of have the same theme as folklore, that kind of thing. That's what I'm doing. Otherwise, if you're doing Taylor Swift, you might want to find other songs that kind of fit into that genre. I honestly cannot relate to that whole vibe because I have not listened to Taylor Swift since I was at least in college, probably high school. So that's not something I relate to, but if that's what you're writing, then that's kind of where you're gonna want to pull from. I want to jump back a little bit because I've already written an epic fantasy that's 140k words and I am querying it right now. I will put a link to that in the description below so that you can go and look at my website and see the progress that I'm making on that. It's the first of a 4-book series. I wrote that with my husband and we kind of worked together to make our playlist. It started off as mostly classical music because it's a fantasy. It's supposed to be a little bit medieval and you can get a lot of those vibes from classical songs, or especially like the Lord of the Rings soundtrack, that kind of thing. He started putting in some songs that were very liturgical, like Catholic liturgical. I loved it and I felt like it just really tied together the feeling and the vibe that I was trying to go for in my book. And so we've created this like huge long playlist that he actually uses to work with when he goes to work because he's an attorney. So he'll go and work and he'll use that playlist, but then I also use it every time I'm writing. He uses it when he's writing and it just kind of gets into the vibes that we want. So that was kind of, we built it over time, not I built it and then started writing. The actual playlist that I started building before I started writing was far more folksy. So I'm kind of going to be pulling from that as I make this playlist because some of the vibes are kind of the same. My husband also would use that on occasion when we were writing. It just kind of depended on the chapter that we were writing and kind of the vibes that we wanted for that chapter. Okay, so the next thing you're going to kind of want to do is think about place and time. So in my second video of this series, I did research on the place and the time that would be involved in this story, and it's medieval, it's 16th century. Is that considered medieval? I keep saying medieval, but I don't even know. It's definitely 16th century. I'm not sure if that's considered medieval, and that's not good. I'm kind of embarrassed about that, to be honest. Oh well. So, medieval, 16th century, it's in Scarborough, North Yorkshire, England. And so when I'm looking for music, I'm trying to find things that are kind of in that time period. I might have to do some research to find it, but you can find stuff like that. That may be different for your story. You may be doing Victorian, you may be doing modern day. So it just kind of depends. Especially if you get modern day, you can get down to like the very specifics. Like, is this in the 50s? Am I writing a story that's in the 50s? I want to get 50s music so that I can throw that in there and I can feel the vibes of how people were enjoying their music at the time. You're also going to want to look at location. So the 50s in Japan are going to be completely different from the 50s in America. So you're also going to want to look at that. Okay, lastly, I am a musician. I play the piano and the harp. I've tried guitar. I haven't really gotten into it, but I've tried it. But I do play the piano and the harp. And so when I'm thinking vibes. I am very sensitive to what instruments are being played in music. And so for me, I can already tell that what I want to hear when I'm writing is I want to hear harp, because I feel like that kind of is that ode to that time period, that medieval time period. And I also want to hear dulcimer. It's such a strange instrument and I've always been so obsessed with it. I think it's so cool. I would love to learn how to play it someday. But it gives this kind of twangy vibe that I think would be really cool to have in my story. And obviously I'm not writing about the dulcimer, but if I'm listening to it while I'm writing, it's going to give me a vibe that I can then transfer over into the story as I'm writing. So you can think about that too. You can think about how the instruments that you are using in your songs will transfer over into how you're experiencing writing your book. You might want an oboe, you might want a saxophone, you might want string quartets, this might be, you know, Victorian England, and you're writing scenes where they're going to a ball, and so you want to have those string quartets that are playing so that you can imagine or envision what it would feel like being in the room at that moment. So there are a lot of things you can think about when you're making your music playlist, and these are just some of the things that I came up with as I was getting ready to put it together and to share with you guys kind of how we did it with the last book and how I want to do it with this book. Good luck to you, and I will see you guys in the next video. We're going to be talking about creating characters or building a cast of characters for your story, and the things that I found most valuable to me. And I think you'll be a little bit surprised by it. So hop on over to that video when you're finished with this one, and we will get started on building characters together. See you guys in the next video. Later.